Welcome to this interview with Klaudia Kovács. Klaudia Kovács is an Oscar contender film and theater director in Hollywood, California, who has received 37 awards. She directed, produced, and wrote the story of Torn from the Flag, the most accomplished documentary in Hungarian film history. The movie is about the Hungarian Revolution of 1956 and the Cold War.
Thank you so much, Marta. I really appreciate it. Thank you for interviewing me. And let me introduce you to the viewers. And your resume is so impressive, I have to read it. Psychotherapist, speaker, author, producer, as in film producer, Marta Fuchs was born in Hungary and escaped with her family to the US in the wake of the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. She holds a BA in linguistics, an MA in library science, and another MA in clinical psychology, and is a licensed marriage and family therapist. Her book, Legacy of Rescue, A Daughter's Tribute, was adapted for the film The Soldier's Uniform, which has been shown and received awards in over 24 international film festivals. So it's an honor for me to be interviewed by someone so amazing, Marta. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have lots of questions to ask you. Number one, you are getting ready for a major milestone, the 70th anniversary of the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Can you introduce us to your brainchild, the 70 for 70 Commemoration series?
Absolutely. So the 70 for 70 Commemoration series is for the 70th anniversary of the Hungarian Revolution. And since my film, Torn from the Flag, was premiered around the 50th anniversary, now we are re-releasing the film, and also we're doing 70 locations around the world so that people get the message and learn more about of the Hungarian Revolution and its spirit.
Great. So that we understand how you became interested in this historic event, first tell us about your background. Where were you born, and did you grow up in an artistic environment?
I was born in Eger, Hungary, and I was not born into an artistic environment. However, my mother, who, by the way, was a Hungarian Olympian who competed in 1964 in Tokyo, Japan, and she had several degrees, and one of them being a history degree. And so she worked at a museum in Eger, and so one of her responsibilities were to bring in artists and organize exhibitions. Her official title was museologist, which translates to essentially a curator. So I grew up around art, fine art primarily, and historic art. And so I think my interest in history comes from that era.
And why and when did you come to the United States?
When I was 16 years old, someone gave me an American book, a very famous American book of the Beat Generation, On the Road by Jack Kerouac. And I fell in love with this book, and I thought, I have to live in this country. I was 19 years old, and I became a babysitter and tried to break into Hollywood from then.
Wow. Torn from the Flag was your first film. What is the concept of the film, and why did you choose this topic?
So, Torn from the Flag is about how Hungarians impacted the world. Having grown up in a small country, I have always heard how we were impacted by big nations, the Soviet Union, the Austrians, the Turkish, and so on and so forth. And what I really wanted to do is talk about how did we Hungarians impact the world. So that's the core concept of the film. And what really inspired me is once I moved to the States, I think that's really when I became a real Hungarian, if you will. And so my filmmaking process was essentially a discovery of my Hungarianness.
I understand that you built a big Hungarian community around the project for the 50th anniversary.
That's correct. I built a really large community, around 20,000 people. So before I started making the film, I worked as a journalist for a Hungarian publication, and I wrote articles and cultural essays and similar items. And so a lot of people, I think, have known my name. And through that work, I created a community of 20,000 people who eventually helped to make the film. And without them, I could not have made the film. And so we had about 2,000 donors. We had 5 investors, and there were about 50 foundations who helped to make the film. So it was all a community effort, and I will always be grateful to the Hungarian community. That also includes, by the way, the North American Hungarian community includes Canadians as well. So Canadians and Americans.
Excited to learn that my Hungarian piano teacher in America, Neslini Judit, was one of your first sponsors, I think.
She wasn't one of them. She was the first one.
She was the first.
The first one who wrote us a check. And you know, when I was a babysitter, I worked for $5 an hour. So for anyone to have faith in me that I will make this project and commit financially was such an experience for me as a young filmmaker, as an artist, and as a woman. And so I will always be very grateful to her as well.
You were able to secure many impressive interviews for your film, such as Nobel Prize winner Henry Kissinger, the last crown prince of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Otto von Habsburg, Pulitzer Prize winning author William Taubman, former president of Hungary, Arpad Gönc, former president of Cyprus, Georgiu Vasiliu, and Mark Kramer, who is the head of the Cold War Project at Harvard. What was your interview selection process?
I really wanted to show a 360-degree study of this topic. So that was my original concept. And in terms of, you know, securing these amazing interviewees, this was not my doing only. Here is where the power of the community comes in. There were a lot of people who helped and utilized their connections for us to be able to reach these people who normally are incredibly difficult to reach and almost always say no. And so this also just shows what a difference it makes when Hungarians come together for the same cause and for the same film.
Wonderful support. How long did it take to make the film? And you've already mentioned some of your supporters.
Altogether, the film took 9 years to make.
Wow.
And it was a really lengthy process. The first 4.5 years, I basically was researching. And here I want to mention my co-producer, George Adams, who stood with me from day one. And he helped me to make this film a reality. And then into the 5th year, we got really our first real funding. And that's when I started to hire my collaborators. And this is when we started to really create the very specifics of the film. The other person I'd like to mention, or the other 2 that were vital to the filmmaking process, was Oscar-winning cinematographer Vilmos Zsigmond, and also late cinematographer and cinematography legend László Kovács, no relations. And they, you know, they are such, or they were such respected members of the Hollywood community, and for them to come on board and support the film was really a game changer. Another person I like to mention in the Hungarian community, in the American Hungarian community, is Edith Lauer, who many people know. She is an amazing organizer and a champion of Hungarian causes. And without her, we would have had a really difficult time making the film. And then I'd like to really mention Panavision and Technicolor, who are major companies in Hollywood, and they came on board and helped us from a technical point of view. Additionally, we had Andrew Shenyei, who was our executive producer, and then Laszlo Bito and Olivia Carino, George Mishmash, and Janice Mishmash. These 11 people plus entities, without them, we couldn't have made the film. So I wanted to mention all of them so they have credit at all times.
Original images associated with Torn from the Flag. Can you talk about the poster and the etching?
Absolutely, yes. I prepared a little bit for this question. One of them, the poster, you can sort of see behind me. And I also wanted to show you one of our DVDs. And then I'm going to show you the other DVD. So this was the poster here, and this was the etching. And so we took tremendous amount of, thank you. We really tried to modernize the image and still make it historically accurate. Here you can see Torn from the Flag. And what's really also important that here in the green, which is perhaps a little bit hard to see, I'm going to actually put this on the screen so you can see better. The Hungarian Revolution of 1956, an inspiring film for today. And what's really amazing, as the film has become a evergreen, if I may say so, after so many years, this sentence never changed. So we are very happy with this. The other thing about the etching, this is the small version. This is the second edition, DVD edition, and we use the image. This was created by a Hungarian-American artist, Gábor Korányi. And I have a little surprise for you. I prepared this. This here is the original piece.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know how, I'm going to try to hold this really close. Yeah. So this is an amazing piece of art. And we'll talk more about this, how this feeds into the 70th anniversary and how we're trying to utilize this beautiful image. But just a little bit about the artwork. It's a one-of-a-kind special commission limited edition anniversary etching commemorating the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. This striking and profound epic image was created and is hand-signed by multi-award winning, internationally acclaimed fine artist, as I mentioned, Gábor Korányi. The paper size is 21.5 times 17, and the image size is 15 by 11 and 3/4. And originally there were only 150 pieces available. Now it's much less, but I wanted to share that with you because it is so extraordinary. And these two images really represent our film. By the way, this etching here that I just showed you, this is also called Torn from the Flag. It's the Torn from the Flag etching. And then the poster is obviously the poster.
Yeah, the first time I saw those, just mesmerizing. And each time I viewed them, I see more things in them. It's very layered and complex.
It really is, because, and one more time, as if you look at carefully, this is the pre-56 historic times. This is the revolution. And as people move through the revolution, they became hopeful humans, which is so important to humanity. And at the bottom is the historic Hungarian map. So this is all obviously interconnected. And so we love this image, and I'm very proud to have this. And
really powerful symbolisms.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So where did the film premiere? And I imagine there were many festival showings.
Yes, the film premiered at the so-called AFI, which is the American Film Institute's film festival, same time as Robert Redford's film premiered. So I think we were in a good place. And so that was a big deal to get into this festival. We got into a special section. And then we were also selected by and invited by 21 festivals altogether, out of which 5 festivals were Academy Award qualifying festivals. So the creme de la creme, if you will. And so that helped us to get into the Oscar competition. And so, yeah, I think that was quite an experience that I could write an entire book about, just that experience.
Your next project.
My next project.
How were the reviews, and what did historians think about the documentary?
Reviews were amazing. We have basically gotten the same feedback from historians as well as the media, which Torn from the Flag is the very best film ever made about this topic. Very honoring. And it really makes me feel that it was worth all the effort and the 9 years, which was a hard 9 years to make. And so the fact that I was able to put this all together and make Hungarians proud and create a project that is now an ongoing, evergreen film and documentary that really summarizes the Cold War from 1945 through 1991, when the Soviet Union fell apart. And in that context is the Hungarian Revolution. I am just delighted. I feel it's one of the greatest works I've ever done. So I'm humbled.
Well, as I've told you before, Torn from the Flag remains among my top 10 favorite documentaries.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it's just when I thought you couldn't pull out yet another aspect or yet another person to interview, there they are. And it was just fantastic. I can't recommend it enough.
Thank you.
So you only won 37 awards. And the documentary was even invited to the US Congress. Tell us about that.
Well, with all fairness, the 37 awards are not all Torn from the Flag. So I have altogether as a filmmaker or a theater, actually a film and theater director, because I also direct theater. So I have 37 awards altogether, but the film won only 8 awards. So I'm okay with that. The film got invited to the United States Congress by the late Tom Lantos.
Ooh.
And he introduced the film. And so now it's in the congressional record. Another honor, which is way beyond what we could have ever imagined. So really, really grateful for that as well.
Fantastic. You got into the Oscar competition. You alluded to that several of the film festivals were Oscar contending submissions.
Are film festivals that make you automatically qualify for the Academy Awards run. But also there are some additional criteria you have to meet, which is why when we were in the Oscar competition, only about 100 documentaries got in. And the pre-qualifying condition is that you have to have a theatrical run, which is really difficult for documentaries. And it's particularly difficult for a very genre-specific and ethnicity-specific documentary like ours. But we got distribution by ArcLight Cinemas, which was amazing at the time. And we also had screenings in New York. So very difficult challenge, but we overcame that and we got into the Oscar competition. So that's another honor to be in that realm of filmmakers and to compete with our documentary. It's like being an Olympian, right? Just to be there and be able to compete is extraordinary. And I just can't even really find the words to explain how I felt at the time. I think I was very focused on getting things done. So maybe I didn't enjoy at the time the whole experience as much as I should have, because I basically was a check mark machine. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have
Yeah,
to do.
you showed us some DVD editions, and it's also true, isn't it, that PBS acquired the film?
Yes, so the first DVD was this one, and so it was sold out. And so we had this DVD about a couple of years after the premiere, which I forgot to mention, by the way, that the tickets for the premiere was sold out in about 40 minutes. And
Wow.
we had a standing ovation. So that was really fantastic. And then this was our second edition. And so the reason this is important to say, because we wanted to do something new with the second edition, and we created a little booklet with the same image, as you can see,
Ah.
but it has all the donors, and it has everybody who ever donated or helped or volunteered. Oh yes, I forgot to mention that as well. We had about 100 volunteers to help with transcriptions and some other things during the shoots. So basically, the second edition, it was a homage to everybody who contributed. So that was important. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question?
Oh, PBS.
Yeah, so that was really interesting because PBS don't really doesn't really acquire films. They kind of want you to submit, and then they have a selection process, but it's very rare that they reach out to you directly and they wanted to show the film. And that was a big deal in terms of distribution request. And it was also an odd time because they wanted to show the film at the time when it was in the Oscar competition. And the
Oh,
Academy does not allow you to show the film on television until you're done with the Oscar competition. So essentially, I had to make a choice: is it the Oscar competition or is it television a screening? And the other thing they wanted to do, PBS, is they wanted to make the film much shorter. They asked me to edit out about 40 minutes because of
whoa.
what's called a television hour, right? So which is about 54 to 56 minutes, depends. And so I did not want to honestly butcher the cause. I did not want to shortchange my heroes. And
Yeah.
I did not want to compromise my donors and the community. So I decided to stick with the Oscar competition, and I do not regret it. Now, for the 70th anniversary, however, we would like to show it on PBS. So this is something that I also will be talking about a little bit later, and tell you that now that PBS is new rules and regulations, but they want underwriters for screenings. So we are looking for communities and nonprofits and donors and investors to sponsor the PBS screening. So hopefully that will happen.
Yeah. I imagine schools and universities have shown a lot of interest in the film.
Oh yes, that was amazing. Yes, we get a lot of interest from high schools, and we also get a lot of interest from colleges and universities. Many colleges, many universities asked me to come on board and do presentations, some Ivy League ones, and many libraries have acquired the film, which is great because basically the film is an educational tool to educate the students
Definitely.
about the 20th century history. And also the feedback we're getting from young people is amazing. I mean, this revolution was made by young people, right? Let's be real.
Yeah.
And so it really resonates really very well with the students. So it's wonderful. And then there's a nonprofit called Teach with Movies, and that nonprofit suggests the film to teachers to use it as an educational tool as well. So it's all wonderful, and we're looking to, right now, we're for the 70th anniversary. I'm going to plug a little advertisement in here as well. We're looking for librarians and educators who want to show the film and perhaps have our team come and do a presentation for the students and for us to be speakers and share the experience of the filmmaking process and what we have learned about history. So if you're out there, let us know.
Yeah, sounds great. And in fact, recently, I heard that the film itself became a university course. How did that happen and where?
Just this year in January, UCLA invited me to teach the film. The film itself is now a course, a university course. And so I taught that class, and it was really wonderful. The feedback was amazing. And so I'm looking forward to teaching more of this class. And it's just so nice to see that a film, a Hungarian film, becomes a course. Now I do know that Hungarian cinema is amazing, so obviously it's something that teachers and university professors always refer to. But I don't know of any other film that is actually just a course by itself. So extremely proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So now that you've helped us understand the arc of your ongoing dedication to spreading the message of the Hungarian Revolution, tell us more about your goals for the 70th anniversary.
The production would like to see 70 new places, as I have mentioned, that would show the film. Now, when I say new places, that also means perhaps places that have shown it before, but since have a new generation of Americans and Hungarians, or Hungarian Americans, who have not seen the film, who don't know much about 56. So we're looking for basically 70 new locations around the globe that would either host the film, have a speaking engagement with us, would be willing to exhibit and or acquire this beautiful piece of art. And also we are offering, the poster behind me, we're offering that for exhibition for no charge. So if your institution would like to welcome and they have a blank wall, we're happy to give that to you. Essentially, we're trying to find 70 places that are willing to amplify and just spread the word about the 1956 Hungarian Revolution, because as a historian said a couple of years ago, the Hungarian Revolution was one of the most underpublicized but most important historic event of the 20th century. So my mission is to change that. And what I need and what we need is a collaboration and a support of the community, and help us help you to spread the message.
What other kind of help would you want to see for this 70 for 70 commemoration project?
There are several ways to help, as I have mentioned now a few times, but I want to reiterate because it's so important. So we're looking for essentially donors. We have a nonprofit status, so anybody who can help us to raise enough funds to do all this work, which requires several people's day and night labor for a year, we would like to welcome you. We would like to invite you to come on board. And then we're looking for organizations who want to be partners in hosting these events. We would like also people or companies who like to sponsor this. And as far as the PBS screening that we're trying to achieve, what PBS requires is underwriters. So we're looking for companies who need advertisement, nationwide advertisement in relations to this film, and we can provide that. So there are many ways to come on board. Whatever way you want to come on board, do contact us because we would like to talk with you.
So what's the best way for organizations and supporters to get a hold of you?
Two ways: tornfromtheflag.com and claudiakovács.com. So you can send us messages and we will respond and let us know how you'd like to come on board, what is your interest, why is this meaningful to you, and how we can collaborate in a way that it's a win-win situation for your organization, for the cause, and us.
Great. Thank you so much, Klaudia. This has been really wonderful education about one of my favorite films, and I'm sure it will be other favorite films for people. It's just an extraordinary project that you undertook. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for interviewing me. I really appreciate it.
Szívesen.